What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. It's been a minute. I know it's probably been a year since I've done a update or a video. Anyways, I have been uploading to the shorts on my boat build, which I think the last time I did a video, this thing is sitting in pieces on the floor in the garage, and now it's pretty much almost done. It's got a few things left on it, but needed to take a break from it for a little bit. A little burned out on it, not gonna lie, and I need to get to work on the next winter project, which is the 240Z of mine, and let's talk about it. Okay, so this is my 1973 Datsun 240Z. Picked this thing up last year from Minnesota. Cool car. It's not perfect by any means. It's been modified, so any of you purists that think I shouldn't do an engine swap on this thing, it was already engine swapped. It had a bunch of stuff already done to it, and I don't have any ambition to make this thing original at all. I'm not putting an original motor in it. I'm just not doing it. This is my car, and anybody that doesn't like it, you can kind of suck it. So but yeah, this is my 1973 Datsun 240Z. Modified already by a guy up in Canada. The guy that I got it off of bought it off a guy in Canada, and I thought that was kind of cool. But had a 280ZX motor in it, and turbocharged and whatnot, and I mean it ran around all right, but it was kind of a turd in my opinion. I think it probably made about 180 horsepower. It was maybe 200. I don't know. It was kind of a pooch for what it should have been. So I decided I wanted to do a motor swap. The motor was actually that was in it had a bunch of blow-by issues, and the transmission had a bearing going out on it, and there was a couple other things that was happening that I didn't like and I didn't want to mess with. The ECU was ancient. It needed replaced. And I just didn't want to spend a bunch of money into something that could only make roughly about 500-600 horsepower at the most fully built, and I didn't want that. I wanted to do something different, and my first thought was, well, I'll just take my Trans Am motor out because I want to put something bigger and better in that car down the road. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't need that kind of power into this little car. It was a disaster waiting to happen, because I would end up probably killing myself in that car with that motor in it and combo. So I decided not to do that, and then I decided to put a 2JZ in it. And I thought that would be cool. Bought the 2JZ. It was a GE block. Had a couple things for it, and after I got a pricing everything that I needed to put this motor together for this car, it's just like, holy cow, this is a little expensive to build one of these motors. And so I kind of lost interest in that pretty quickly when I found out how much it was costing to build them. So my buddy actually talked to me about these 4200 Vortec motors that everybody's lately been starting to swap into stuff and build them up and put turbos on them, and they rip actually. And I was like, okay. I look into it a little bit, and I watched a few videos. I was like, well, this is kind of cool. And I seen a few people that were just taking like stock motors like this one right here and just putting a turbo on it and making 500 horsepower with it unopened. I was like, holy cow. All right, well, this is about where I need to be and want to be. And the cost to get one of these things are fairly cheap for the most part, especially if you buy like a Trailblazer that has a bad transmission in it. You just rip the motor out of it, part the car out, and you pretty much got the motor for free, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to talk less about that, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and drop a Vortec 4200. As you can see, I got over there. This is an 08 motor. I was originally going to put that one in it, and then last week I finally pulled the trigger. This thing was sitting on Marketplace for a few weeks. The guy that I bought it off was a super cool guy. Had this in a C10 Blazer, which was really neat. And he had it lost compression into the cylinders. He thought that it had a broken ring gland in it, which it did. I did take the top end off the motor, and I found out 2 pistons on the top side of the ring glands were broken. So that was bad. The cylinders were actually in good shape still. The piston's a little beat, not the piston, but the head is a little bit beat up a little bit. So I might need to put new valves in those 2 cylinders, and maybe I can clean up the head a little bit and just throw this thing back together, because this is a completely rebuilt motor. It is super clean and in good shape. So I might go ahead and try to just reuse this motor and put that in here, which this is an 06 motor, and it's already got studs in it and a few other things. The main reason I bought this motor was because it had the oil pan already done on it, and I honestly just didn't. I had time to build one, and I plan on probably still building one, but I will do that down the road. So going on to the next thing, the thing that I'm going to be using, like transmission wise, what I'm going to be using is this T56 Magnum. This has a small block Chevy, big block Chevy bell housing on it, and it bolts right up to the MTech adapter plate. Works pretty good. I do have a clutch for it already too, and I'll get it more into that down the road when I start putting things together. Another thing that I have for it, I have one of the turbos off the Trans Am. It's a 7675 forced induction turbo. It might be a little big for the combo, but I'm going to put it on anyways. I already have it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on. If it's too laggy and I can't get the tune to make it spool faster or whatnot, I'll probably go down to something a little smaller. I'd like to stay something in the 70 millimeter range versus a 60. I think 60s are just a little too small in my opinion for a 4.2 liter. I could be wrong. I'm not no turbo expert by any means, but I'd like to stay somewhere in the 70s to get away from all the back pressure issues and whatnot. So I did go ahead and put all this into this car already, and just to see what was going to hit and what was not going to hit. My first issue is this cross member. I cannot get the motor low enough to where the hood will shut because of this cross member. And it's not so much the cross member, it's the rack and pinion. The oil pan sits on top of it, and I don't like that. So my plan is to I'm going to hack it off about right here on each side, and then I'm going to make this all tubular. I'll use my Rogue Fab bender over there, and I will just make this just about an inch, maybe 1.5 inches, a little bit lower, and then remount the rack. I'll have to extend out the steering shaft to it, which is not a big deal, super easy to do. And the other issue that I have is the old transmission mounts. The old transmission mounts, I don't know if you can see them or not. Maybe now, I don't know. But they are hitting the transmission, and also the tunnel is hitting the transmission, so I can't get it up high enough. And that's a little bit of an issue. So I gotta trim all that up, open the tunnel up a little bit more so the transmission can get where it needs to be, sitting properly. But all in all, it does line up very well. It's about right here on the back of the motor, and then the transmission lines right up where it needs to be. I do need to open up the hole a little bit, but that's not a big deal. I can do that. I've got the tools. So let's talk about the ultimate goal that I want with this car. So I want to drop 4,200 in this with a T56 Magnum. I would like to make about 500 to 600 horsepower right out of the gate, no issues. Then maybe upgrade it. Once there's more aftermarket stuff out for these motors, I'm going to build a motor. I will do it. Probably not that one. I'll probably end up building that motor, the 08 motor, and put a ported head on it, cams and stuff like that. But I just want to wait for more aftermarket parts to come out with this. I'm hoping that there it is. I hate to spend a bunch of money on aftermarket parts and then something better comes out. And I'm hoping that that's what happens. A bunch of new aftermarket stuff comes out, like cams and other whatnot. Because I'd like to make about 800 to 1,000 horsepower at full turned up. Will it always be turned up? No, no, it won't. It'll probably be just cruising around about 500-600 horsepower on the regular. But when I want to turn it up, it'd be cool to make about 1,000 horsepower with this little car and one of these 4200s. But yeah, some other things that need to be done with the car. Also, we're gonna have to upgrade the driveline on it, on the rear side, axles, whatnot. Probably do suspension. It already has coilovers on it, but for what I want to do with it, it's just not going to work. For what I want, I don't plan on road course in this car. I'm just not a road course person. The main plan with this car is to do maybe some highway pulls and drag racing. That's about all I want to do with it. I don't really have any ambition to road course it. With this being such a big motor, I think the weight distribution is going to be a little off because I'm pretty sure that the 4200 is a little bit longer than the old L28, but it is lighter than the L28. But I'm also putting on weight with the T86 Magnum. So that being said, probably don't want to waste any more time. Doing this is just kind of, this is what we're doing type video. We're going to build a Datsun 240Z. We're going to drop a 4200 in it with a T86 Magnum, and we're ultimate goal 1,000 horsepower down the road. But right now, this year, we're just going to build it to make about 500-600 horsepower with basically a stock motor, and have some fun over the next summer. Do some racing with it, maybe do some goofing around, and we'll build some stuff up as we go. I don't want to do a full build all start to finish and then go out and play with it. I want to do it gradually. I want to get some stuff going, get the car running, go out, have some fun, and we'll upgrade it as we go down the road, and then have some fun with that. And then probably next year we'll finish up the boat. This is actually going down to upholstery here in a few weeks to get some more upholstery work done to it, which is really cool. And then hopefully maybe next summer I can start building a shop so I can get all the other cars in and I can start jumping around on all the other stuff. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, keep watching. The video is going to get better again as I get used to doing this again. Right now this one probably is not the greatest, but it'll get better, I promise. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. Like, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.